Okay, now that you've mastered ordering fractions, the adding and subtracting of fractions isn't a big step. So exactly the same as when you're ordering them, you need to write them over the lowest common denominator. You need to make sure that the units are the same. Then you need to add or subtract the numerators, and once you've done that, if it's possible to simplify, simplify it. If it's an improper fraction, make sure you turn it into a mixed number. So we're going to start question 1. 7/10 take away 3/10. So I'm looking at what's the lowest number in both of these times tables. Well, they're both the same, so I can just repeat that number. So I'm going to write that just in as a 10, and I'm going to write a long bar, and I'm just going to put the 10 once. So what do I do to 10 to get 10? Well, I keep it the same. That's the same as timesing by 1. So this is just times by 1 here. 7 times 1 gave me 7. 3 times 1 gives me 3. So here, those numbers stay the same. It's just 7 take away 3 over 10. That gives me 4 out of 10. So I've done steps 1 and 2. I now need to see if it's possible to simplify. Well, both 4 and 10 are divisible by 2, so I can simplify it to give me an answer of 2 out of 5. It's not an improper fraction. The numerator is smaller than the denominator, so I keep it as it is. I don't need to change it to a mixed number. Okay, let's have a look at the next one. So again, those two denominators are the same, so I'm just going to rewrite it with the same denominator out of 50. We're keeping everything the same. Just for the sake of completeness, I'm going to put in my times by 1s. So 41 times 1 is 41. 19 times 1 is 19. So I've got 41 plus 19. 41 plus 19 gives me 60 over 50. I can see that both of those are divisible by 10, so I can write that as 6 over 5. I've done my third step. Looking at my fourth step, it's an improper fraction. 6 is bigger than 5. So I'm asking, how many times does 5 go into 6? Well, it goes in once with 1 left over. So my final answer is 1 1/5. Question 3 is slightly more difficult because we've now got different denominators. So I'm going to just write down my 9 times table, just the first few numbers in my 9 times table, 9, 18, 27, 36. I'm going to write the first few numbers in my 3 times table, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. I'm looking for what's the first number in both lists, and it should be apparent there that 9 is in both lists. So here, I'm just writing my bar over 9. So to go from 9 to 9, I keep it the same. That's timesing by 1. To go from 3 to 9, though, I'm going to need to times by 3. So I need to do the same to my numerator, times it by 3. 8 times 1 is 8. 1 times 3 is 3. So I've got 8 times 1 is 8. 1 times 3 is 3. 8 take away 3, which gives me 5 out of 9. Simplify if possible. If not possible to simplify, turn to a mixed number if it's improper. It's not improper, so my final answer is 5 out of 9. Okay, next one. I'm looking for the lowest number in the 4 and the 2 times table. So 4, 8, 12, 16, 2, 4, 6, 8, and so on. 4 is the lowest number in both times tables, so I'm going to write this over 4. 4 is staying the same, it's my timesing by 1. 2, to get to 4, I'm going to need to times it by 2. 1 times 2 is 2. So this gives me 3 add 2. Gives me 5 over 4. There's my 5 over 4. I can't simplify it, there's nothing that goes into both 5 and 4, but I do have an improper fraction. So 5 divided by 4 is 1, remainder 1, so 1 1/4. Please take a second to make sure that you've understood those worked examples and you've copied those down, and then unpause the video and we'll go on to some questions for you to try. Okay, so here's 12 questions for you to try. For the first 4 questions, you've got the denominators are the same in the question, so you can just move straight to adding or subtracting the numerators. From question 5 onwards, you're going to need to find what's the lowest common multiple of the denominators. Be careful once you get to around question 9 onwards, because you're going to start ending up with improper fractions, and make sure you follow step 4, which is turning it to a mixed number if it's improper. Pause the video, have a go at the questions now, and then we'll give you an opportunity to mark them. For those of you who need a bit of a hint with this, I have just put in now at this stage what the lowest common denominator is for each of these fraction questions. If you need that help, please pause the video now. If you don't, then carry on playing and we'll get to the solutions. Okay, so here are the solutions. A couple of things to look out for. So for all of them, I've got to step 2 on the first line of my working. On the next line then, I've tidied up the fraction. So just make sure that here, on question 3, you're making sure that you simplify your fraction from 12 over 20 to 3 out of 5. On question 4, that you're changing it to into a mixed number, which 1 and 8/11ths. Question 5, 6, 7 and 8, there's no further simplification that you can do. Question 9, just making sure there that you turn it into a mixed number. Question 10 can both be simplified and turned into a mixed number. Now it doesn't matter whether you simplify it first to give you 7 out of 4 and change that into 1 3/4, or change it to a mixed number first. If you changed it to a mixed number first, it would have given you 1 and 15 over 20, and the 15 over 20 part can be simplified to 3/4. Questions 11 and 12, again, just make sure that you change them to a mixed number. Okay, pause the video please while you mark your work. Give yourself a mark please out of 12. If you need any further assistance on this topic, please go to Hegarty 66, but not before you've done the next exercise, which is around adding and subtracting mixed numbers.